Coach Rye here from Team Flex. Today we are breaking down NPC Bikini 2026. What is going on stages? What is in? What is out? And what are these competitors looking like right now so you can better plan your season? I'm going to go over criteria, talk about the placings, why they landed the way they did, and ultimately how you can do better on stage 2026 if your goal is to be a bikini competitor, really at any level, all right? First and foremost, I got to tell you about this experience we got. This is my new roadmap experience. We launched this just a few weeks back. It has been absolutely insane. It's free. It's the best experience I've ever put out. You get an in-depth physique assessment. You get check-ins with me daily, custom training, custom nutrition, advanced competitor analysis, a stage readiness score, and you will get a full 12-month personalized roadmap of where you are now to where you need to be on stage. This is perfect for anybody out there trying to figure out what you need to be doing, what you need to focus on, the in-depth analysis and assessments. They're honestly next level, okay? And people are loving it. Like, I've been getting nothing but raving feedback on this. I actually had to slow the roll on it because we're getting so many people involved. I was like, this is too much for me to keep up with. But if you head to the links in the description, you can get on this experience now. If you get there and it says you can sign up just like this, enter the free experience, click the button and do it. Otherwise, you're going to be on a wait list, okay? Because we got a lot of people that want this, a lot of people coming through. And, it's the best thing I've ever put out. So if you like the channel, you learn here, come learn a lot more in-depth with me right there. And I'd love to see you on the other side, okay? So let's get down to the competition now at hand. What we're talking about, what we got here on the dock is bikini. And this class we're going to look at today, this is Open Class C. This contains the overall winner here, Haley. She's our winner right in the middle. We have Brianna over here taking second. And then in third, we have a Savannah over here, okay? And, a little bit of a crazy background on this stage. So I'm using red today. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. So what we can see in bikini, right? 2026 is kind of a big season now moving into this because Fit Model's been in play now full year. A lot has changed. We're seeing a lot of different movement going on with bikini wellness. And of course, first pro season for Fit Model just about to hit. So we're going to see a lot of changes in bikini. However, we are seeing some very clear similarities, very clear things we know. Bikini, it's all about the hourglass. So you want to have that width of the shoulders, taper in at the midsection, and then your lower body should recreate that balance, right? You should basically see the same amount of muscularity, same amount of shape on the upper body as you do the lower body. And whoever has that best hourglass, generally, they're gonna be the ones that are winning these classes. They're gonna be ones winning across the board here. So if we look at Haley, we can see good overall shoulder development. That's fullness. That's roundness. It's not overdone where it's starting to look like figure. It's not underdone where if it was less muscular, it'd be looking like Fit Model. She's bringing just the right amount of shape, just the right amount of that fullness there. Her arms, biceps, and triceps are not distracting. They're not taken away from this. They're not doing anything bad on her physique at all. Honestly, kind of exemplifies a good symmetry, which is something judges do look for, right? They're looking for symmetry in muscle groups, especially in bikini. Now, one thing that stands out on her physique, and keep in mind, she not only won this class, she won the overall. Very narrow waist, like ultra super narrow waist. And I've been telling bikini competitors this for years. All my clients I'm coaching, I'm working with, we're always focused on the waist, bringing that in as much as we can and really trying to maximize what we're doing up top, because the more dramatic of a V taper you get, the better you will do on stage every single freaking time in bikini, honestly, Fit Model, even wellness, any of these divisions, figure. The better of a V look you get, that hourglass, the more you're going to do better on stage because it becomes dramatic. Something you walk out, judges see it, and they go, whoa, what is that? We need to analyze her physique more, right? So she's got really good shoulder shape and fullness, tapers into a very narrow waist. It creates that piece of the hourglass shape where now we say, okay, that's dramatic. That's a lot of, that's a tiny waist, a lot of shoulder width up top. Very good look. Now, lower body-wise, what you want to see is everything balance that look out. So we should see glute fullness, quads, hamstrings, and everything come together in good symmetry. What we do see here is overall good glute shape. Upper glute is filled out. It's not underdone. She's got good quad fullness here, good hamstrings that match that balance, and it creates a overall symmetrical lower body look. One of those things that is often ignored, not really paid attention to as much is, yes, you want to have the hourglass shape overall, but you do need to have good symmetry in the actual muscle groups as well, right? So that means the hamstrings, you got to match the quads, got to match what the glutes are doing, got to match where you're at, right? And when we get over to the back here in just a second, we'll see exactly what the symmetry really stacks up to like that. But overall, very symmetrical from the front. What I can say here, over time, she won the overall here. She won this competition, won this class, probably bringing up the glutes a little bit more. It's going to be a key to getting, further placings, advancing pro card, so on and so forth, right? Because they do appear just a little bit under compared to what the quads and hamstrings are doing. However, very symmetrical, very hourglass look, and she really brings it home on that position there. If we pop over now to Brianna, she got second place in this class, okay? And what we can see here is a lot of similarities, but we're also going to see some clear differences. Let's highlight them one by one. So we can see here good overall shoulder shape and structure, brings that through pretty well, tapers in at the midsection. It's all working, and lower body is, again, kind of bringing that symmetry. A couple notes that I see on her physique that are definitely different. We do see a little bit of that trap zone, okay? So traps, they're not ideal in bikini because if they show up, it can make you look too muscular, and judges will note that right away. It can also distract a little bit from your shoulder width. So she's got overall great shoulders. Everything is there, but the traps, it could be one of those things that can deter from that just a little bit, right? That takes you from first to second in this group. The other thing that I noticed too is midsection, she's got a good taper in. Everything is there, but it's not as tight. It's not as tiny. It's one of those things where honestly, it doesn't look like it's a conditioning issue or anything of that. It's probably more core control. And that's one of those things that you do find. I can see in the back here, it says true novice. So she was a true novice competitor at this event. So it's a phenomenal physique. Great job bringing that in. First time, competition. But that's one of those things that you improve over time, right? Bringing in the abdominals, working on, vacuums, intra-abdominal stuff, transverse abdominal stuff to pull that in. That does help. And looking lower body wise, she does have good structure to the quads, to the hamstrings. Glutes look a little bit behind here compared to every other muscle, on her physique. So, she's got good shoulders, good fullness overall. Lower body also does appear a little bit tighter, maybe than it should, right? So we do see a little bit more of those harder lines here, a little bit more of that feathering action going on over in those quads. And, again, that could be an indicator bikini is still trending, like I've been saying for a bit now, a little more on that softer side. It's really what judges are looking for in this season. I do think so. Okay, so now let's take a look over at Savannah. And again, keep in mind, we're going to pop to the back, look at everybody here in just a minute, get the full story. So Savannah has good overall shoulder shape, tapers in pretty well here, brings it in. Traps, not a huge issue. Lower body fullness looks pretty good. Quads, hamstrings, everything's there. Key differences I note, right? And again, we're generally going to see competitors being very close. She does appear leaner, right? So we can see a little bit more of that separation in the upper body, a little bit more of the ribs coming through here, a little bit more separation down. But also she does appear lower body more so dominant, I think, right? Like her quads look a little bit bigger, her glutes look a little bit bigger, her hamstrings look a little bit bigger than what's going on up top. That's one of those moments in bikini where, you might be able to stretch over to wellness if you really wanted to, if your body's kind of doing that naturally. Otherwise, it's a reshape thing. You want to stay there, right? Because what it does otherwise is it starts to make the hourglass look a little bit too lower body dominant. And, in bikini, it's all about that perfect hourglass symmetry. If you have lower body dominance, generally you're going to want to move up to wellness. That's just where you're going to want to go. So for her physique, maybe a little bit leaner, a little bit more of the symmetrical stuff to work on, things like that. And if you're on the fence, right, you're watching, you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Coach. I have no clue what I'm doing. Go to the roadmap. Do the roadmap. That free experience I talked about earlier. If you didn't do it yet, come over. I'll give you a full physique analysis, just like I'm doing for these ladies here in this video. Do it for you. Personalized to you. Tell you exactly what you want to do, okay? Now let's go to the back. Every time we go here, the full story is always told, okay? So what we can see from the back, instantly everybody's going to be right in those markers of they're going to showcase a good hourglass shape. No doubt about it. However, each one of them is going to do it a little bit different. So let's highlight Haley here, the winner, overall winner, what's different versus the others in the group. So we can see just a little bit of that shoulder shape from the back. It's key. It's good. You want to have it because, again, it creates that upper piece of the hourglass. Taper in here is not always going to be seen because you're not always going to see the waist due to the hair. Not a big deal. You know it's happening because you've seen the front before. Judges, when they look, they know, okay, yeah, she had that tiny waist. Well, it didn't go away when you went to the back pose, right? But the focus here becomes comparing the upper body to the lower body. What you want to see is good overall glute structure and fullness. Upper glute is fulled out. Good separation between the glute hamstring tie-in, not too hard, not too tight, but it's definitely there. You can see it, not holding extra body fat, in other words. And then symmetry between the quads and the hamstrings. And what we do see is that exact thing here. Her glutes look maybe a little bit under from the front, from the back. Honestly, it's pretty symmetrical. I can still see the upper glute maybe just needs a little bit more of that work. It's one of those things most competitors need. that's going to be competitor feedback 90% of the time in bikini, more upper glute, because it really creates that roundness. It creates that, upper density, and that's what creates the overall bikini effect. Tie-ins too, I think she could pull these through a little bit more as she continues to advance as a competitor, adding a little bit more muscle there, a little more density, but overall, it's really a complete look, very symmetrical. One thing I will note too, just looking at this, could be camera angle, but her right side here does appear just a little bit more developed than the left side. And you do see this stuff on competitors, right? Because body can favor one side or another. In fact, it's natural to do so. So, making sure your training plan, I'm not saying that's specifically what's going on with her, but if it is, in fact, and you have that same thing going on in your physique, a lot of times doing unilateral movements and stuff and making sure that you're not doing too much bilateral stuff where both legs are working at the same time is going to be the key to balance that out. Now, let's continue to move out here. We're going to look at Brianna. And what we can see here, Brianna's got the overall good shoulder shape, good type of ran at the midsection. Lower body is just not looking as filled out, right? That's the biggest difference here. And I mean, there's not too much more to hammer on that because it's clearly, what's going on. So upper glute, not as developed, not as much of that going on, not as much overall glute density, not as much of the tie-in coming through, but still good balance and everything, still good symmetry. This is one of those situations where, the key is really building a little bit more muscle, reshaping the physique a little bit, and continuing to do that. And that's what you do as a competitor, as a bodybuilder, as somebody, competing bikini or any of these divisions. It is a stepping stone, stage to stage, what you got to be working on to continue to better your physique. Let's take a look over now at Savannah. Okay, she's in third in this group. Good overall shoulder shape, tapers in, everything's there. Lower body definitely looking pretty dominant, right? Like I said before, from the front, we see it here in the back. It's not bad. The shape is all there. The glute structure's there, upper glute density, the tie-ins coming through, but the quads look heavy. The hamstrings look a little bit heavy. And, I'm seeing now actually that all three of these athletes are looking a little bit bigger on the right side. So it must just be a camera angle here. But either way, if you do contain an actual imbalance there, which I do see in a lot of physique assessments, I do, that's kind of how you perfect it. But either way, we are seeing just a lower body dominant look on her. So it's one of those things where it says, okay, well, you can add more muscle and go to wellness, or if you want to continue to really stay in bikini, balance out that look more, become in that zone where you could work that symmetry and really create just an overall more symmetrical hourglass look. One more competitor to look at in this group here, and that is coming to over here, Christina. Okay, so Christina here, leanest on the stage and almost probably the most muscular in general, right? She's taking fourth in this group though, which is important to note for the criteria and where it's probably heading this year. I've been saying it for a while, the introduction of Fit Model, and I started seeing it. I cover many, many shows, as you know, if you watch this channel, right? Like I'm covering tons of competitions. I've seen bikini, kind of pulling down a bit, a little bit less muscular, a little bit softer, trying to go back to the roots. And it makes sense with Fit Model. They literally brought Fit Model in for that reason. They want a more attainable division for women. So it does make sense. Bikini pulls down a little bit with that too. And I've seen the same thing in wellness, which is good. Overall, good things. But here, we're looking at Christina. She's the most muscular of the group, biggest shoulders, I would say. Most etched in abs at this point, biggest oblique. We're seeing feathering in the quads over here. We're seeing splits in the group. So leanest, not necessarily doing the best in this group, okay? And she still has great physique. It's showcasing very well. From the standpoint of what things she would work on, more glute development, right? We need more upper glute, overall glute, more, honestly, quads, hamstrings too, and just softening up the look. She, looking at her physique, get a lot more of like a, you should kind of go to figure thing, could go to figure, upsize the muscle a little bit, but that conditioning is so tight, that's more figure esque. Let's look from the back. We always get that full story there. And as you can see, very lean, right? She's showcasing super lean. We almost lose the shoulders here from the back because depletion, smaller muscles due to being more dieted. They're not filled out as much. You're very lean. That's what happens. Flatten it out. Tapers in pretty well, but lower body, super lean. Very, very lean. A lot of leanness coming through here. We're seeing literal splits and feathering in the hamstrings, Not a bad look at all. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody's physique when I review, but when we're talking about criteria, and where things want to go, this is first, that's fourth, okay? First and overall, that's fourth in this group, okay? And the biggest difference is level of conditioning. She's much softer over here than harder over here. And, more fullness in the glutes, the quads, the shoulders than what's going on over here. So those are really the markers right now for where 2026 bikini right now is going, and I think we will see this play out all year. I think we will see this all season. As I said before, if you need help, you need to know where to go. You're trying to figure out what to do. the roadmap, the greatest experience I've ever offered, and it's free. There's no reason not to do this. Like, it's crazy. And the people that have been doing it, like, it's changed their entire trajectory for their entire outcome of their preps and everything else. I know that. So check that out. Let me know what you think. Do you like the direction of bikini? Do you like where it's going now? Do you prefer the softer look? Or are you more on the chasing the shreds type of a look? Thanks for watching. Coach Rye is out.